everybody. Welcome to today's webinar, the Microsoft OneNote webinar. OneNote can do that. I'm Christine Irons. Just before I introduce myself a little bit more, I'm curious. We're going to get a lot of people in the webinar. We have a lot already. Curious where everybody's coming from. I find now with our webinars, it's great. We're getting people all over Canada. We're getting people down from the States. If you feel like it, just stick it into the chat. Let us know. Oh, look at that. California, that's so cool. Embrun, Ontario, Texas, Michigan. Look at that. This is great. Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of people today. Everybody seems to be interested in OneNote. One of those little applications that you always see, but you don't quite know what it does. Look at them coming in. Oh, they're Ottawa. I'm from Ottawa too. Michigan. Yep, all over. New York City. Oh, I missed that one. Wow, guys. Okay, so yeah, today's webinar, OneNote. I'm Christine. I've been working with CompuEase and JN software now for about 3 years. And before I started with CompuEase and JN software, I was in Toronto. I was working for York University, basically doing the same thing. I'm a computer instructor. I'm a courseware designer. So I've been teaching technical courses for years and years, like way too many years to even mention. And I did promise you guys that were in the last webinar, because I keep giving you the same little, as you can see on my screen here, the fun fact that I absolutely love singing. I promised you I would come up with something else. Boy, I had to rack my brains. But I'm a big animal lover. I do love animals. I have cats. I have a dog. I've had so many animals over the years. I always say if I hadn't become a trainer, I was actually planning to become a veterinarian. That was my goal in the beginning, but yep, I went to training. So that's my fun little tidbit other than singing. So before we start again, just in case any of you guys have issues or you haven't used Ring Central before, somewhere on your screen you should have a little floating toolbar like what you see here. Where you have the chat button, and if you click the chat button, you can put a chat in if you're having issues with technical issues. Like I was just actually, the reason I paused is I was just looking over at the chat and I can see, oh, did you see me in the ABBA show? Mary, I was in the ABBA show. Oh, so cool. I shouldn't actually look over at my chat screen. But yeah, pop a chat in if you're having any technical issues. So I noticed a couple of you couldn't hear, so although you can't hear me say this now, but if you have technical issues, put it in the chat. We have Melanie here. She'll help you out with everything. And also, we love it if you ask questions. So if you have any questions, put it into the chat. And I'm going to not look at that chat while I'm doing the webinar, just so that it runs smoothly. And then at the end, I will look at the chat. I'll check out all the questions. We will cover all the questions. So do it during, do it after, whatever, but we'll get to them, okay? And if something happens and your internet disconnects, just go to your meeting, again, the meeting email that you got, and you can connect again and rejoin the meeting. Whether it's the phone or the video, it doesn't really matter. You can connect again. And just quickly, I know a lot of you have been through the webinars. I mentioned JN Software and CompuEase. Basically, they're sister companies. So I work for both companies. They're sister companies. JN Software is a company that's been around since 2002, and they provide training and consulting services and database support services. And they provide these services outside of Ottawa and Quebec. So anywhere other than Ottawa and Quebec. So anywhere else in Canada, anywhere in the States, you would be going through JN Software. Whereas CompuEase, who, by the way, has been around since 1988, a long time, CompuEase provides training services for people in the Ottawa area and the Quebec area. So really, it's just a matter of where you're coming from, whether you go through CompuEase or JN software. So training, consulting, database, private, public courses, always live. And there are so many reasons to take training through the companies. Today, what I'm going to do is tell you what I think is my number one reason. I'll have to choose a number one reason. I would say that the classes are guaranteed to run. I think that's amazing. You don't get that with a lot of companies. So if you sign up for a course, you never have to worry about your course being canceled. You can guarantee on that day that course is going to run. It doesn't matter if you're the only person in the course because it's a slow time. So I think just that even is a number one reason. And by the way, it's not just software training that the companies provide. We do offer a lot of software training, Microsoft, Adobe, and things like that. But we also offer professional skills training. We've got a lot of great professional skills trainers. And it's not just what you see here on the screen. We're always adding courses. Check out our website. I'll show you at the end of today's session where our website is, and you can check out what courses we offer. But we're always adding to the list. Plus, if you go to the website and you're looking for a specific course and you don't see that course on our website, contact us anyway, because I can pretty much guarantee we will run the course. So don't go by just what you see on the website. And then we do offer a free training and consulting audit. So you're attending this webinar, you can contact us and we can talk to you. We love talking to you, and we can give you suggestions as to what we think you might need, whether it's training, consulting. It could even be just we'll point you in the direction of some of our free resources like our newsletters or we offer video tips on YouTube. I don't know if any of you have seen them, but we do have a lot of video tips there too. So take advantage of it, all free. Give us a call, send us an email, and we can just talk to you. So lots of good services with JN Software and CompuEase. Okay, so let's get into the webinar, guys. Webinar outline, what is covered? Well, I'm going to start with an overview of OneNote. Now, I know that you did probably see in the advertisement that I will be covering how Outlook integrates with OneNote with meetings and tasks and things like that, which we will definitely cover. But some of you are here and you've probably never used OneNote before, you've just heard of it. So I'm going to give you an overview of OneNote notebooks, what it's all about. I'm going to talk about the version differences because this is really important. There are different versions and it's important to know the version that you're using, which is related to OneDrive as well, okay? And then we'll get into, I'll open up Notebook. I'm going to talk about notebooks, sections, pages. This is how you're going to organize yourself in OneNote. And then we'll look at inserting basic content into OneNote. Well, we'll put some text in. I'll show you how to put a picture, a link, things like that. And then we'll get into that integration with Outlook. So how can you organize your meetings from Outlook and integrate them with OneNote and include tracking tasks between your Outlook and your OneNote? And then after all that, I'll show you how you can do something called tagging inside OneNote and searching your OneNote notebooks. Really important. You don't want to lose information. So tagging and searching are very important. You guys are going to get a lot out of this webinar, I think. All right. So let's start. Let me just get my video out of the way. You don't need to see my face while you're looking at the presentation. You have to hear me. Okay, Microsoft OneNote. Why would I use it? Well, like I said, OneNote is one of those applications, and I was there too, guys. I was exactly the same. Where I saw OneNote all the time on my computer, when I went to load Word or Excel or PowerPoint, I would see this OneNote application. I had no idea what it was. I think I might have clicked on it once just to see, but then I didn't even know what to do with it. So why would I use OneNote? Well, let me ask you something. Does your desk look like this? Kind of like this? Or even worse, does it look like this? And like, you may be laughing at this, but honestly, I have seen offices like this. Like, I've walked into offices where I can hardly get across the floor. There are, like, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have so much work, so many notes, so many things to remember that it actually looks like this. Do you have notebooks like this where you're always scratching ideas into notebooks or things that you don't want to forget? Like, I always had notebooks on my desk, so I would constantly put little notes in them, switch pages. But then, you know what? I would not be able to find. I knew I had a note for something. I had somebody's phone number or whatever. Then I would be going through all my pages trying to find where I put that note, because it's hard copy, right? Or sticky notes galore. And my desk, like, you probably think I'm kidding. My desk, when I was working at York, you can ask my coworkers, it looked like this pretty much. Well, maybe not covering my monitor. I had to see my monitor, but I had so many sticky notes. I would get off the phone with someone and I have different notes. I might have 3 or 4 sticky notes and stick them all to my computer, stick them all to my desk. But then again, you lose them, right? You can't find what you're looking for. Or how about business cards? Do you collect business cards? Your wallet, your purse, your bag? Receipts? I'm really bad for that. I go into stores, I buy something, I get a receipt. I usually kind of crumple it and it goes into my coat pocket or my bag or my purse or whatever. And then, of course, you can't find your receipt when you need it. Or just in general, do your purses and wallets look like this if you empty them out? If I have time, I'm going to talk to you about this, because I also, I used to teach a time management and Outlook course, and this is all related to OneNote. So your receipts and your business cards and what you can do with them in OneNote. If we have the time, I'll talk about that. But yeah, what you see here on the left, really, this would be my purse, including that Tylenol bottle. Always carry Tylenol with me, but you can't put Tylenol in OneNote. Or doodle, just in general. Do you like to doodle? I always admire people that can do things like this. I love creative people. Okay, so what is OneNote then? OneNote is the electronic version of a notebook. Now I'm going to bring you guys back to high school, if you can remember high school. And I used to do this. I don't know if you guys did, but every, August, just as you're getting to September, my mother would take me out to the store and we would buy all our school supplies, and we would buy, like, I would buy a binder for every single course I was taking in high school, and then I would buy tabs to put in the binder because I was planning to be so organized. Every year you're planning to be really organized. So I would buy tabs, and then I would buy packages of lined paper to put in, and I'd get all my binders ready for school per subject. The problem with hard copy binders is, first of all, how many binders do you buy? How many tabs do you buy? How many packages of paper? And then when you're, by the time you're getting to December, are you running out of paper? You have to buy more paper. Did you organize yourself properly? Do you think you organized yourself with the proper binders and tabs? Or are you finding you have to reorganize yourself? And if you do, you've got to buy more tabs because you need to write on them, change up your binders. Like, anytime you make something hard copy, it can be painful. Well, OneNote is your electronic version of a binder and tabs and pages. But just imagine taking this notebook that you see on the left with the tabs going up and down like this. imagine flipping it on its side. If you can see here, do you see the tabs across the top? You'll see it when I load OneNote. So it's like a binder flipped on its end where your tabs are across the top, but it is just basically electronic binder. And you can have as many binders or notebooks, they're called notebooks, as you want. It's up to you how you organize yourself. It's up to you how many tabs you put in, how many pages per tab. And the thing is, because it's electronic, it never runs out of pages. It never runs out of tabs. You can add as many tabs as you need, as many pages as you need. And then you can reorganize yourself so easily because it's electronic. Plus, when you're dealing with a hard copy binder, there are only certain things that you can put in a scrapbook or a binder. Like you can write text, you can put pictures, cutouts of things, newspaper cutouts, whatever. You can't put videos in a hard copy binder. You can't put audio. You can't integrate a hard copy binder with your Outlook email, or even collaborate with your coworkers very easily. I guess you could pass the binder around. But there's so many things that you can do with an electronic binder that you can't do with a hard copy binder. But that's what it is, basically, in a nutshell. So not only can OneNote, does it allow you to type notes in, so things you just even think of off the top of your head. Not only can you type in OneNote, but you can do things like I said, insert pictures, but you can insert audio and video clips. You can insert screen captures, web clippings from the internet. You can embed files from Microsoft Office, like you can put Word documents in OneNote, you can put Excel files. If you have Visio installed on your computer, you can put Visio in. PDFs, you can even put PDFs into OneNote. And the best thing of all is that everything is searchable. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Your video and your audio is searchable. So if you search for a keyword, it will actually search your video and your audio for that keyword. If you insert a picture in, like suppose you're walking down the street someday and you see a poster up for a music video, and you take a picture of this music poster and put it into your OneNote. There's an optical character reader built into OneNote that can read the text from your pictures. So if you do a search, it even searches your pictures for that text and comes up with it, believe it or not. I'll show you at the end of today's session. I'll show you, because I have a picture in the OneNote file. We'll search it. I'll show you something else really cool with the picture too. So you never lose anything. So not only do you organize yourself with your binders and tabs, but even then, if you're not that organized, you never lose anything. So basically, OneNote lets you capture ideas, keep organized, and collaborate with other people. I always say when I'm teaching the OneNote classes, OneNote is probably the best application that you are probably not using. Okay, but hopefully after this webinar, you'll start using OneNote. Okay, so let's dive into it. I have, let me just load my OneNote. Okay, so I've already opened up my OneNote, and I'm going to explain it to you in a minute, but there's something really important to explain about OneNote before we actually look at the OneNote notebook that I have open, and it's about the versions of OneNote. There is a OneNote 2013, and there's a OneNote 2016. They really pretty much are identical. You can't tell the difference, the 2013 and 2016, and that's what they're called, OneNote 2013, OneNote 2016. But after OneNote 2016, when they came out with the 2019 Microsoft Office suite, they decided not to call OneNote 2019. They just called it OneNote. So if you happen to see, if you go to load something on your computer and all it says is OneNote, that's the 2019 version. That's not so important. 2013, 2016, 2019 are all identical. It's the Windows 10 version I have to tell you about. If you guys have Windows 10 installed, if you're a PC user, not a Mac, and you have Windows 10 installed instead of Windows 7, you know that's what runs your computer system. Windows 10 comes with a version of OneNote, and it's called OneNote for Windows 10. And the OneNote for Windows 10 is very different. Actually, I think I did. I have, what you're looking at here is OneNote 2013. That's what's on my screen here. Take a look at the ribbon up here with all the options on the different ribbons when I flip between them. Kind of like your Word in Excel. Take a look at this. This is OneNote for Windows 10. See up here? Look at the ribbon system. It's a very simplified ribbon. You don't have all the same stuff that you have in OneNote 2013 or 2016. And in OneNote 2013 and 2016, your sections are across the top. And over here on the right, your pages are on the right. In Windows 10, you have a navigation bar here with your sections here and your pages here, plus there are a few other differences. So the OneNote for Windows 10 is very different. Now, what I've chosen to do is do this webinar using OneNote 2013 because OneNote 2013, 2016, 2019 are the only versions of OneNote that let you save your OneNote notebook locally on your computer, like your desktop or a share drive. If you have a share drive at work, you can save it locally. OneNote for Windows 10 does not let you save your notebooks locally. It forces you to save your notebooks on OneDrive. The cloud service, the Microsoft Cloud service, you don't have a choice. It's going to go onto OneDrive. And the thing is, we do a lot of training for businesses and government that don't want their employees using OneDrive right now because it's a cloud service. I think they're worried about security, although I have seen that at least the Canadian government's switching over bit by bit now. But what they're doing is they're putting the versions 2013 and 2016 on your computers. Even if they upgrade you to Windows 10 and you have that OneNote for Windows 10, they will still install an older version of OneNote on your computer so that you can save your notebooks locally. So I'm doing the training in OneNote 2013. And I prefer 2013 anyway over the Windows 10 version. And I'm just going to do something here because I want to show you something. Okay, so I'm in OneNote 2013 here, and I have a notebook open. It says Training Ideas, and it already has section tabs across the top. I'm going to refer back to this notebook when I show you how to integrate your Outlook with your OneNote. But right now what I'm going to do is start a brand new notebook. So to start a brand new notebook, just like Word and Excel, you go up to File, New. It does still, even though I'm in 2013, it still wants to save your notebook on OneDrive. Just pay attention to that because I've seen a lot of people give a notebook name and then create it and they don't realize they're doing it on OneDrive. I'm going to click Browse because I want to browse my computer and choose where I want to put this OneNote notebook. So I'll click Browse. And I actually have a folder on my desktop, my OneNote webinar folder. I'll put it into there. So I'm going to create a notebook because I want to keep track of recipes. So I'm going to call this Christine's Recipe, if I can spell it, Recipe Notebook. And I'll click Create. So now I'm in Christine's Recipe Notebook, and I have one new section, and over on the right, I have one new page, both of them untitled. Before I actually create my page, I want to show you something. Up here where it says Christine's Recipe Notebook, there's a little drop down. When I click it, it's going to list all of my open notebooks. So I still have that training ideas notebook open. I can just flip over to it. There it is. I could go back to Christine's recipe notebook. You can keep a whole bunch of notebooks open. It doesn't take extra resources. And you can just flip between them. You never have to close them. If you wanted to close a notebook, you could always right-click the notebook and you have close this notebook. But really, there is no need to close a notebook. But what I wanted to show you is I do usually have several notebooks open, but I don't like the drop down. And I'm going to click that drop down to show you what I do. See, there's a little pin here. So I would click the pin and it pins my notebooks here on the left. So this permanently stays open and it lists all of my notebooks and I can just flip between my notebooks. I prefer this. Or you could just use your drop down. You can unpin it by clicking the pin button. The other reason that I like pinning my notebooks is it's really easy to move content from one notebook to another notebook. Like I can move pages, I can move sections, and if you have it pinned, it's just as simple as drag and drop. I could go over to a page on the right and drag and drop it to another notebook. I could drag a whole section tab into another notebook. Pinned is so much easier. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create 4 different sections for my recipe notebook. So it starts off with a new section 1 up here at the top. All I have to do is double click and I will call it appetizers. Then I'll click on this little plus symbol, this tiny little tab here next to it to add another section tab. And I'll call this one main dishes. And then I'll add another tab. I'll call it vegetarian. And my last one, of course, you have to have desserts, my favorite. See how easy it was? 4 different tabs. I'm on the desserts tab. I'm going to add a recipe here. Now, I could just click here and type a recipe, but I happen to have a Word document. I'll bring it over to the screen to show you. I already have a Word document here with a recipe. I'm going to press Control-A on my keyboard to select it all. I'm going to copy it, Control-C, and then I will come back here to my untitled page here, and I'm going to paste it, Control-V, or right-click paste, and look at that. Look how beautifully it pastes it in. Really nice. Now, the one thing you do have to get used to in OneNote is whenever you add text, so if you copy and paste or you even type, I'll show you in a minute typing, it adds it to a container. I don't know if you can see this gray bar across the top, but I can actually drag and drop the container anywhere. Your pages don't have page endings, so you will never see a page ending going down or left or right. It's an unending page. You can add as much content as you want to a page. And I know it's hard to get used to because we're all used to dealing with Word documents with page endings. Now, there is a way that you can tell OneNote to see your page endings. So if you're going to print, you can see what it's going to be like and if you have to move content around. I just don't have time to get into it in a OneNote webinar, but you can do it. But the idea behind OneNote is you're using it electronically, saving paper kind of thing. But there's my recipe. Now I might want to, well, I probably would give this page a name, but it's already picked up because I copied and pasted, and the Chewy Oatmeal Cookies is the first main title, and it's like a heading 1 from my Word document. It's picked up Chewy Oatmeal Cookies. But I would still go up here to the top and I would type Chewy Oatmeal Cookies as my title to my page. Now let me show you, I'm going to add another page. Let's say I wanted to add another dessert. So over here on the right where I have my pages, there are so many ways to add another page. One way up at the top here is a button that says add page. And when you use this button, it will always add pages to the bottom, to the very last page. But if you need to insert your page in the middle of other pages, you can just mouse over a page and you get these little plus symbols, so you can actually choose to insert a page wherever you want to insert a page. I'll just click the Add Page button. So again, it adds an untitled page. Now let's say I wanted to add a recipe for chocolate chip cookies and I don't have it in my Word document. I want to title this page Chocolate Chip Cookies. You don't have to right-click where it says Untitled Page and give it a name, because up here at the top where you type the title to your page, whatever you type here, it will title your page that. So if I put Chocolate Chip Cookies, it's giving that page that name, Chocolate Chip Cookies. And then I could click down here and I could copy the recipe. I could go to a website and copy the recipe, or I could type it. Now let me show you something with typing that you have to get used to. So it does type in containers. So this is my first container. You can click anywhere on the page to add a container. So I could click over here on the right, like a scrapbook, right? This is my second container. But I want to show you a trick. For those of you guys that are attending this webinar that have used OneNote before, I'll give you a little bonus trick here. It was driving me crazy. When I would put a container in, if I wanted to type in another container, a separate container, so they can be dragged and dropped around separately, if I put my cursor too close to the first container, so just underneath it here, and start to type, whoops, see if I can get my cursor down there, and start to type, oh, of course it's not going to do it now. Yeah, usually if I'm too close to the first container, it starts to type into the first container as opposed to starting another container, and I was pulling my hair out with that. I suggest, instead of single clicking on a page to type content, double click. And if you double click, it will always start a new container, no matter how close you are to another container. So here, if I'm really close to it, but I double click, I'm guaranteed to get a separate container. So try to get used to the double click method. That saved me a lot of headaches. Okay, I'm going to go back to the first page, Chewy Oatmeal Cookies. Let's say I wanted to add a picture. So I'll click at the end of the title, Chewy Oatmeal Cookies, press enter. It's just like Word, PowerPoint, Excel. You can go up to your insert ribbon. Look at all the stuff you can insert. I'm going to choose pictures. And I have a cookies picture here. This is probably not a good idea to be doing cookie recipes when I haven't had lunch yet. It's 12:30. Probably some of you haven't either. But here's my picture. Then that's basically what you do in OneNote. You're inserting content, and a lot of it is done from the insert ribbon. I could even put a hyperlink in. So maybe I wanted a hyperlink to this is actually a craft recipe. I found it on the craft website. I have the craft website open. I'm just going to copy the URL and I'll paste it in here. So you can insert a link. So you can always click it and go right to the site. You could type a link in, www. whatever. There's so much you can, like really there's no end to what you can insert. And by the way, OneNote is always saving. You'll notice there's no save button. Okay, so it's always saving. But don't worry, if you make changes and you didn't undo it and it's a week later, there is a way of going back in history and going back to page versions. So it does keep track of page versions. So that's kind of the way you set up your sections, your pages, you put page content in, things like that. Now, how does it integrate into Outlook? I was trying to think of the name. How does it integrate into Outlook? Well, I'm going to bring up, let's see here. I'm going to bring up an Outlook email that I have. And I'm going to go back to my training ideas notebook. Let's say we're going to start training people in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all the different Microsoft products. And we're going to be doing a lot of brainstorming for, you know, the training courses we're going to set up. We're going to have a lot of meetings about it. So I started a notebook here. I've decided to separate each section by the different applications that we're going to teach in, so we can make lots of notes and you know, do the brainstorming. I'm going to add another tab, another section tab. So I'm going to click that plus symbol at the end. And I will call this, what will I call it? How about preliminary notes? Something like that. Maybe I'll right click it, make it a different color. What do I not have? How about a yellow one? And maybe I'll drag it to the left here. My preliminary notes I want first. Okay. So I'm going to go to that Outlook email. So I've asked Jim for some help on helping us set up this training program for our Microsoft applications. And he sent me an email, and he's excited to help us out with our training program. And he wants to discuss the scope of the project, and he wants to have a meeting about it. And he also sent the email to Kayla and to Erica. They're all involved in this. So what I want to do is set up a meeting about this. Now, I could go to my Outlook calendar. I could start a new meeting. A lot of you've probably already done that, set up a meeting. But there is the option in Outlook, not sure if you guys know this, when you open up an email, you can respond with a meeting request. There's a little icon up here where my mouse is moving around, reply with meeting. The shortcut, if you want, is Control-Alt-R. So if I click reply with meeting, it opened on my other screen. It started a new meeting, as if you went to your calendar and you said, let's start a new meeting. So it took the people that are part of that email, Jim, Kayla, Erica. I could add more people if I want. I could add optional people. I can choose a date that I want the meeting. So let's say we're going to have it on Friday. Let's say we're going to have it Friday from 2 to 4. You could put a location in. Down here, I could start typing some notes about it. Or I'm thinking, well, we're going to have a lot of meetings. I'm going to be taking a lot of notes. We're going to be doing a lot of brainstorming. We're probably going to be doing this in a lot of different places. Like if we have a meeting, maybe I'll start a Word document to take my meeting notes. I already have a OneNote notebook where I'm going to be taking some notes here with the tabs. I'm going to be sending emails to people, and I'm going to be putting notes in emails. Why not have one central location, some robust area where we can keep track of everything, like OneNote? So what I'm going to do here is in this meeting invite, you'll notice there's a button up here, Meeting Notes. I'll click Meeting Notes. Now, I have to tell you, OneNote does work best if you do save on OneDrive. You're making it the most flexible as possible. It allows you to collaborate with all your other co-workers, and it allows you to do things like share your meeting notes with the other people that you work with if it's on OneDrive. If you save your notebooks locally on your own computer, you can still take meeting notes, but you can only see the meeting notes. The other people you work with can't because they don't have access to your computer. What I did is this Training Ideas OneNote notebook, I did put it on OneDrive. So it's automatically going to share my meeting notes with the people that are invited to the meeting. You will have the option if you do put your notebook locally and you choose take meeting notes. It will allow you to say, I just want to do the meeting notes for myself. Okay, but if you choose to share it with other people, it's going to tell you, well, then put your OneNote notebook on OneDrive. Okay, so I clicked meeting notes. It realizes I have a whole bunch of notebooks on my OneDrive account. There is my training ideas notebook, and if I click this little twisty beside it, it will expand and show me the different sections that I have in there. And there's my preliminary notes section. I want to record everything about this meeting in the preliminary notes section. So I'm going to click preliminary notes and I'll click save. Okay. I could click open in OneNote. I already have it open in the background, so I don't have to. But the idea is I would then click send. So I'll click send to send this meeting invite. I didn't put a location, but I'll send anyway. Okay. So here's my training ideas. When I go to training ideas, what I'll do is I'll just flip between notebooks to get it to refresh, but there's a little green refresh button. And over here on the right, look at the pages on the right. It has now added a new page called Office Training Project. That's coming from the subject of the email. So if I click on Office Training Project, look what it's done on the page. It's put a copy of the email. So I've got the subject. I'm just clicking over here, who it's coming from, which is me, who's invited to the meeting, the date and the time of the meeting, and the content of the email. It's now also in my OneNote notebook. So now let's say it's Friday, it's 2 o'clock, we're going to have our meeting. I would come to my training ideas notebook, to my preliminary notes tab, to this office training projects page, and now I want to take notes. Now I could do it the old-fashioned way, right? I just showed you. You can click somewhere and you can take your notes. But I'm going to suggest something to you guys, if you can do this. I know not everybody is allowed to do this, but let me show you, and you might try to promote this at your office. I'm going to suggest you record your meetings. You'll see why, okay? I'm going to choose to record our meeting. I'm going to go up to the Insert ribbon, and partway down, I have a button that says Record Audio. So let me click it.
Hey, Christine, we can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, since you clicked on record audio.
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Yep, can hear you now.
You can hear me? I don't know if it's because I pressed record to record. Maybe it's not going to let me show you guys recording the meeting as well as you guys hearing me. Okay. And I didn't spell items right. Okay, so I'll explain it to you guys too, just so I don't lose you with my headset here. But I would take some action items. I'm not recording right now, but I would put something like, while we're talking, Jim needs to follow up with documentation Erica, you know, we're talking a little bit more about things, and now Erica needs to forward information to executive team, and we talk a little bit more, and oh, Kayla, got to assign something to Kayla. She needs to build marketing materials, you know, that kind of thing. Now, what I would do is I would click next to Jim, and on my home ribbon, I would put a to-do tag. See this to-do tag? It's a checkbox. Erica, a to-do tag, Kayla. And I could have started that way. I could have clicked the to-do tag, and then every time I press enter, you get the checkbox automatically. Okay, but these are the things they have to do. Now, the reason I was telling you guys, if you can record the meeting, what happens with OneNote is every time you type in OneNote, it records the spot that you've typed, what you're talking about at the time. Now, I had to turn it off when I recorded these action items, but while I was talking up here, do you notice where I typed the words action, well, kind of action items? Do you see a little play button here? I don't want to press play just in case, but if I click play, it will actually jump me to that spot in the audio where I was talking about things when I typed the word action items, which means if you're like me and you type action items and then you go back and you review your action items, you start to forget, oh, Kayla, build marketing materials, or forward information to executive team. Like, what information was I supposed to forward? Well, all you have to do is mouse over it. You would have a little play button, and it would actually jump you to that spot in the audio. And you can listen to what you were talking about at the time when you typed forward information to executive team. It's so incredible. And then to take this a step further, the integration with Outlook and OneNote, I could, maybe I want to assign these tasks to Jim and Erica and Kayla. They could always come here to the OneNote notebook and they could see these tasks, but watch this. I'm going to click in Jim's item here, follow up with documentation. I'm going to go to my home ribbon, and down near where that to-do tag is, there is a button that says Outlook tasks. If any of you guys have used flag for follow-up, that's what this is. So Outlook tasks, and I'm going to say Jim has to do this by, how about next week? And then I'll click for Erica. I'll be nice. I'll do them all the same. We'll say next week they all have to get this done. So I'll put a flag for follow-up next to all three of them. Now watch this. I'm going to go to my Outlook, my full Outlook. And on my tasks down here, look at this. It auto-generated those tasks into my tasks in Outlook. Now, right now, I'm only seeing this. But what I would like to do is I would like to actually assign this task to Jim. You can do that in Outlook. It's kind of like a meeting request. So I'm going to double click Jim's task here, and I'm going to click this button, assign task. Now notice he gets the action item. Any of this can be filled in. He'll have a link to the OneNote notebook. He could always click the link. It'll take him right to the OneNote notebook. He'll see those check boxes. He can listen to the audio of what was discussed when he had to do it. So I'll assign task, and I will type Jim's name, click it, and send. Now, just like regular assigning tasks, Jim can turn it down. It's like a meeting request where he can accept or decline or whatever. But now, when Jim has completed the task, he can go to his own tasks, he can check it off, or he can click the link and go to the OneNote notebook. No matter where he checks it off, it'll be checked off everywhere. My version of it will be checked off. The OneNote version will be checked off. His own task will be checked off. So I can now keep track of what everybody's doing. We've integrated OneNote and Outlook. I mean, that is really cool. But like I said, you know, if you don't have it saved on OneDrive, then they won't have access specifically to the OneNote notebook. You can still assign them tasks. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to show you, I'm going to open up another notebook. Now before I open up the other notebook, there's something, another thing that's really important about notebooks that you have to get used to. I'm going to bring up my files and folders down here. I want to show you. When you create a OneNote notebook, it's not quite like Word or Excel. When you create a Word document, you have one Word document, right? Whatever you call it. When you create a OneNote notebook, it actually creates a folder. So here's Christine's recipe notebook folder because I created that notebook. And if I double click on that folder, look at this. Every section that you create is its own separate file within that folder. So remember my appetizers, my desserts. And if I double click on any one of these files, it will open my OneNote notebook if it's not open, and it will go right to that section. Or you could double click. Every time you create a notebook, it also creates this little file here called Open Notebook. You can double click that. It will open your notebook and just start at the beginning of all the sections. Just be careful, because if you delete one of these files, you're going to delete the section from your notebook. So keep that in mind. OneNote notebooks, it creates separate folders. Now, I want to open up my scrapbook. I could double click my scrapbook and then I could just click Open Notebook. But I'm going to go back to OneNote. I'm working in OneNote. I want to open the notebook. I'm going to go up to File, Open. I'm going to go down here to the bottom to browse for my file. There is my scrapbook. So don't let the folder throw you off. I'll double click it. And when you're doing it through OneNote, you won't see those separate sections. You'll just get the open notebook. So I'll double click it. And I've opened the notebook. So now I have 3 notebooks open. I'm going to show you what tagging is. Tagging helps you find things, group things and find things. So let's say I'll go back to Christine's recipes. The tags that I'm talking about are, why are my tags grayed out? Well, that's very odd. My tags are grayed out. Honestly guys, I have never seen that happen. My tags are grayed out. Well, the tags that I'm talking about are up here where it says to do, important, question, and there are a whole bunch of other tags. They're just all grayed out for me. But the idea behind, oh, and they just appeared out of nowhere. The idea is that you use them to find things. So maybe I have some things like I have to remember for later. So something about the recipe. I could click somewhere in the recipe, like down here, and I could go up to my tag, remember for later. I could go over to my scrapbook. Maybe there's something in my scrapbook that I have to remember for later. I could go to my training ideas, something here I have to remember for later. So you can, maybe some things are questions. And then the idea is over here on the right where it says find tags, if you click that, it's going to go through all your open notebooks. It will open up a task pane here on the right, and it groups it by your tags. Now, I already had a lot of tags across those notebooks, so I had a tag to discuss with, well, normally I would have a name, and here are all the things that I had to discuss with this person. Or here are those flag for follow-ups. Those are tags. Down here, remember for later. Here are my remember for later that I was just doing, the different things I was saying I had to remember. So if I need to refer to them, I could just click the link and it will jump me to the notebook. There it is, remember for later. Here are my flag for follow-ups. It'll open the notebook, jump me right there. So tags are a way to find things in your OneNote notebook. There are a ton of them, plus you can create your own. And then the last thing I'll show you is you can also search. So to search your OneNote notebooks, your little search screen is up in the top right here above where your pages are. I already had salad there. I was testing it out. I do have in my, I'll just flip over and show you. In my scrapbook notebook on the, actually I'm not even sure where I put it. Somewhere in my scrap note notebook, there you go, I can't even find it. I have a picture of a menu. I've inserted a picture of a menu. So I'm going to go up to my little search up here and I'm going to type salad. It doesn't come up with my menu. And then it will list everywhere it found salad, and you can click and jump to it. What I'll do is I will insert picture. I have the picture of the menu. I don't know why it's not there. My OneNote cafe restaurant menu. There it is. Okay, I'll go back to a different notebook. And now I will search for the word salad. And look at this. See how it's highlighted the word salad in my menu? Yet that's a picture. It searched through my picture. Okay, one quick thing before I answer your questions. You can also right-click a picture and you can copy text from picture. And watch this. I'll go down, double-click here, and paste. You can actually extract the text from a picture. I don't know, that's just too cool. Okay, guys, while you put your questions in, let me just quickly take you over to the websites that we have. So we have our CompuEase website, we have our JN Software website. I'll just use the JN Software website. We have free resources you might want to take advantage of. So if I click on free resources, we have blogs, a lot of good news articles here. And if you scroll down, we have our upcoming webinars. I'll click the link for our upcoming webinars. So this was the OneNote webinar. We have a whole bunch of webinars coming up, like how consulting supercharges your business. So how to choose the right consultant for you, what questions to ask your consultants. If you're organizing training for people, you might want to take this webinar, organizing training for associations. Tons and tons of great webinars coming up. And if you're interested in the courses, here's the link for courses. I'll take you to all courses. Give it a second. Here are all the categories of courses, so many of them. Here's your OneNote. You can click on OneNote. We've got OneNote Complete. We have Working Smart with OneNote. Our partner teaches this, priority management. That's a great course. I'll go to the Microsoft OneNote Complete. You got your descriptions. You can register for the course. The website's great, very self-explanatory. Okay, so check it out. Plus we have some exciting news coming up, quite a few things actually coming up, so keep checking our websites. Register or link to us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. We have the YouTube channel because we have some great announcements coming up, plus some contests coming up. Everybody loves contests. So you definitely want to follow us on social media. Okay, I want to take time to get to your messages. Let me just see. I know there was one message up here at the top that came in as an email before we started the session here. I can turn on my video if you want to see. So somebody asked, do the notebooks sync automatically between devices? And if not, okay. So you can download the OneNote app to your phones, your tablets, and things like that. Yes, they will sync automatically if and only if you save your OneNote notebooks on OneDrive. If they're on OneDrive, Then when you download the OneNote app to your phone, you'll connect to OneDrive. So anything that you do to the notebook, it will sync between the two automatically. You don't have to worry about that. So the answer is yes, they will sync if they're on OneDrive. And that's why it's so great to save on OneDrive. I'm just scrolling through here. Wow, everybody from all over. Nice to have you guys here. Try joining. I'm just seeing if there are any other questions here. If saving a OneNote on OneDrive to share with others, are there permissions? Can you prevent someone from seeing other notebooks, deleting? Okay, well, when you share a notebook, you're only sharing that notebook. So the way OneDrive works is when you save files on OneDrive, it's your OneDrive. So all the files that you save on OneDrive, you can only see. And it's up to you to go to each file, and you can share individual files. And when you share an individual file, you're only sharing that file with the people that you put as email addresses. We do, by the way, we teach a 365, like it's like an introduction to Office 365 to teach you all about Office 365. And part of it is OneDrive to show you around OneDrive and what it's all about and sharing files. But the answer to your question is they will only see that one notebook, nothing else, unless you share something else. Oh, I'm glad you liked the presentation, Chloe. So I have to drop for another meeting. If I'm with 2010, the information won't be accessible or transferred to my phone. I don't think it, I haven't used the 2010 version of OneNote for a while, Erin, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as 2013 and 2016. You can still save it on OneDrive. You guys can get a OneDrive account. You don't have to have a 365 account to have a OneDrive account. Anybody can get a free Microsoft account. Just go to Microsoft.com, create a free Microsoft account. They'll give you a OneDrive account with a certain amount of space, and you can save things. It'll be like your own personal. But when you get a 365 account through your business, you'll automatically have OneDrive. So as long as you have a OneDrive account, no matter, as far as I know, even with 2010, when you save a notebook, you have a choice. Save it locally or save it on my OneDrive, or even save it on Google Drive. You could save it on Google Drive Cloud Service. Can I go over tags again? Yep. Okay, give me a second. So you cannot share the individual page. Oh, you can share. Okay, guys, you can share. Let me take you back to OneNote. I'll go to the tags in a minute. You can share individual pages, you can share sections, and you can share content. The thing is, if you're going to share pages and sections, the way you do it is you go up to File, Share, or actually export. You have to export if it's a page or a section or a notebook. When I'm talking about sharing on OneDrive, yeah, you're sharing the whole notebook. However, there are ways to password protect sections. So you can share the notebook with people on OneDrive and then password protect sections so they don't see those sections unless they have a password. If you just want them simply to see a copy of one of your pages or sections, you could go to File, Export, and you can export a page or a section or a notebook to, you know, a Word document, a PDF, an individual OneNote notebook that just has that page or just has that section. But then they're two separate notebooks. It's not like you're both collaborating on the same notebook. So yeah, if you're talking about sharing the notebook on OneDrive, but you don't want them to be able to see all the sections, password protect the sections. Just right click the section and password protect it. Just don't forget your password. Tags, okay. Tags are, so let's say in Christine's recipe, I want to remember to, let's see here. I have a question. I have to ask my mother here where is it here? All-purpose flour. Do I have to sift the all-purpose flour? I have to remember to ask my mother that because she's the one that taught me how to cook. So what I can do is click anywhere in here where it says the all-purpose flour part, go up to my tags, click my drop down and choose question. I've now marked this flour part of the recipe with a question tag. And maybe even in another notebook, like the training ideas notebook, maybe I have a question to ask somebody else something about this meeting. So what I can do is click anywhere in that section that I want to ask somebody something and go up and mark it with a question tag. Same way I did my recipe. You can mark things as important. You can mark things as remember for later. Things like discuss with Mary, discuss with Joe, anything. You just tag them. Then what you do is you click this Find Tags button. It opens up a task pane over here. Let me make it bigger. And it groups it by the types of tags. So there are tags that I have called discuss with person A, and there were 3 things that I tagged with discuss with person A. I have those flag for follow-up tags that I did when I showed you the meeting. Those are considered tags as well. And they are the 3 things that I tagged with next week. Question. Now I don't know why only one question is showing up here, but question. These are all the tags that I tagged in my notebooks with questions. Now why? It's odd. Oh, here, it is searching all notebooks. For some reason, it's not coming up with the tag that I did in my recipe notebook. Remember in my recipe notebook, I tagged here that I had to ask my mother a question. Or here, flour, ask my mother a question. Maybe it just hasn't refreshed itself yet, but it should come up with under remember for, or question. Here is question. I should have had 2 tags for questions. And one of them was the flour thing to ask my mother about. So it's just an easy way to find things in OneNote. It groups your tags by the tag type. These are all the different tag types. And then you can just jump to those spots in your notebook and get to them easier. You don't have to use tags. It just, trust me, it makes it easier to find things. So everything you have a question about, tag it with a question. Then you open up your tags and you can find everything. It is supposed to search across all your notebooks. Open notebooks. Is there anything else? I'm just looking through the chats. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Yeah, you too, Leon. You have a good day. Thanks for coming to the webinar. Are there any other questions, guys? I hope this helped then. I hope that it convinces you to start using OneNote to organize everything, all your thoughts, everything you have to keep track of. And don't forget, we do teach the full course. So if you want the full training on OneNote, register. I don't know, maybe I'll have you in my course. You're welcome, Paul. You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks. Oh, I'm glad you liked the training. Yeah, I recognize you guys a lot. A lot of you guys, you've been in some of the courses before. That's great. All right, you guys all take care. You have a great day, and maybe I'll see you in some of the training sessions. Thanks, Natalie. Take care. Bye. Bye, guys. Oh, great. Good. Oh, Louis. Hey, Louis. Good. Sign up for the course. Bye, guys.